Ladies and gentlemen, you may remember in the 2021 bull market, people wouldn't stop talking about lengthening cycles. Benjamin Cohen was one of the biggest analysts in the space. He was constantly yabbering on about lengthening cycles. Now, obviously, I stood against lengthening cycles. In fact, I challenged him directly on multiple occasions on Twitter and in the comment section. And of course, we were correct at the end. 4-year cycle prevailed. But now, as we head into a more bullish time in the market cycle for Bitcoin, people are again beginning to talk about lengthening cycles. Let me tell you why I disagree. Guys, as I mentioned in the introduction of this video, just about 2 years ago, I made 3 separate videos and I discussed it dozens and dozens of times in live streams and videos in the bull market about how I didn't agree with lengthening cycles. Now, obviously the channel was small at that period of time. You know, these videos are only getting 600 and 700 views, 400 views in this one, but these 3 videos were made in direct kind of disagreement with Benjamin Cohen. And how he was proposing a lengthening cycle theory, and he was proposing that Bitcoin wouldn't top out in 2021. He was proposing a top in 2022, I believe. Look, it was years ago. I can't remember the specifics of his claim, but he certainly wasn't on board with 4-year cycle. And obviously, he ended up being incorrect. I end up being correct. I'm not saying that to flex, but it's just what happened. And a lot of people were wrong with him. You know, a lot of people were very much misguided, I think, or not trusting the right data, I will say, about lengthening cycles. And I think the same exact thing is happening right now, okay? This is going to be a short video. It doesn't need to be long, okay? I'm going to be focusing on this post here by Credible Crypto. And Credible Crypto, of course, is someone on Twitter with 360,000 followers. But there's not a specific reason why I'm choosing him to be precise. It's not really about him. It's about the fact that his theory, what he's pointing out here, is exactly what a lot of people who believe in lengthening cycles are suggesting. They're actually suggesting, okay, and I'm going to briefly analyze his claims. And apologies if I get some of them wrong. Again, I'm not necessarily focusing this video on this specific person, but I'm focusing on the whole idea of lengthening cycles. The whole idea, let me just purport the argument here. The whole idea of someone who believes in lengthening cycles is they believe that Bitcoin did not see a blow-off top in 2021. And so they believe essentially the cycle didn't end and the cycle is still lengthening. So you can see this chart right here. You can see the circles they've got here and the 4 different cycles we've seen on Bitcoin. They believe the cycle in purple did not end because as you can see on the screen, it didn't lengthen from the previous cycle, the 2018 cycle, which is marked in blue, right? We topped out at the same time. Therefore, they believe the cycle did not end because they're working under a presupposition that the cycle has to lengthen. And they're assuming as well that since Bitcoin saw what a lot of people call a double top formation in 2021, they assume that that wasn't the true top because we saw no blow off top. Therefore, this cycle is just what we've seen since 2021 is just an overextension of a cycle. And we are in a bull market right now, and we are going to head to the top in 2024, mid 2024. He's saying we're going to head to the top, and that will be the proper end of the purple cycle, right? So they're kind of completely ignoring the 4-year cycle date range trends. And they're kind of proposing this argument that I don't think is based on much data at all, okay? They're proposing this argument that 2021 wasn't a real top, right? It wasn't the full extent of the bull market. What we've seen over the last 2 years is just an extended pullback that's kind of gone a bit too far. And we're entering a bull market now finally, and this bull market will take us to our true all-time high, not, you know, what we saw in November 2021, which a lot of people say was the all-time high. So they're saying basically that Bitcoin will go upwards in a parabolic bull run starting a few months ago, and reach an all-time high in mid-2021. Now, obviously, if you've watched my channel for any period of time, you know I have massive disagreements with this. I mean, it's just ridiculous how many disagreements I have, with this. But what I'll say is this. I want to narrow it down to 2 or 3 main disagreements. Let me be very, very clear about them. Okay, first and foremost, right? The whole idea, okay, that Bitcoin has a trend, an identifiable data trend, that it is in a lengthening cycles kind of pattern throughout its entire lifespan is faulted. It's completely faulted because, let me read it out to you. Okay, essentially, they will point to the fact that in these 3 cycles, this one here, this one here, and this one here, we saw a lengthening period of time from the bottom to the top. Therefore, there is 3 data points of lengthening cycles. I'll tell you why this is wrong. First and foremost, okay, the 2011 cycle, they call it a cycle. It's not actually a cycle because a cycle, in my opinion, insinuates 4-year cycle. But even on working on the presupposition that it was a cycle, the 2011 data point does not count because there was no prior data point to compare it to make it valid. All right, let me say that again. If you are pointing at a trend where the cycles are lengthening, right, from bottom to top in terms of days, all right, and you say that 2011 is a data point, you are wrong in saying that because there is no point before that to make a comparison. The first data point of lengthening cycles is actually 2011 and 2015. The second data point is actually 2015 to 2018. And the third data point would be 2021. But the problem is, the cycle didn't lengthen there. So Credible Crypto and a lot of other people are saying that in proposing lengthening cycles theory, in proposing that Bitcoin hasn't seen its true cyclical top yet, in proposing Bitcoin will top out in mid-2024, they are actually trusting the trend. But the problem is there's no trend to be trusted because this wasn't a data point, because there was no point of reference before it, okay? This was the first data point, there's number 1, this was number 2, and number 3 didn't work because we topped out at the same period of time as we did in the previous data point. So we only have 2 data points, and the most recent data point, which they say is number 3, is actually a data point proving the contrary, right? So even just on a base level analysis, it is so easy to debunk the lengthening cycles claims. I mean, to the point in which I'm actually shocked that people believe in it, because that's just basic mathematics. The whole kind of underpinning definition of a trend mathematically is something that happens 3 or more times, right? 3 or more times with very similar characteristics. We've only seen this happen, okay? This data point doesn't count because there's nothing previous to compare it to. It was an original Genesis cycle, it doesn't count. This one over here is number 1, this one over here is number 2, and this one over here is number 3, but it didn't work. So we only have 2 data points, and the last kind of recitation, I guess say, of that data point was in 2018, 5 years ago, okay? And even if we're counting, by the way, right, even if you don't accept the idea that this first data point wasn't a data point, which is ridiculous for you to not accept because that's just mathematically true, right? But even if you say that we have 1 data point, 2 data points, and 3 data points, you still have to admit that this cycle here, the 4th one, has been faulted massively, right? Invalidated massively, and your reasoning for that would be, oh, well, we didn't see a blow off top. Well, I'll tell you right now, the whole concept of a blow off top is a ridiculous concept to rely on in order to list something as a normal cycle. The fact of the matter is, we topped out in November 2021 perfectly as per the date range trends. If you look at any of my videos I did here, any of these 3 videos, I was calling for a Q4 or early Q1 top in cryptocurrency. That's exactly what we saw. We saw a November 2021 top. Those predictions I made were as per the 4-year cycle. The 4-year cycle was correct. The 4-year cycle very clearly predicted the date range top. And for everyone who says we didn't see a blow off top, yes, okay, you might be correct in saying to a certain extent, subjectively by the way, that we didn't see a blow off top in 2021. In the November part of the cycle, but we certainly did see it in the first part of the cycle, right? We saw it from April 2020 all the way to April 2021. So we saw a massive move to the upside. We then consolidated for a long period of time. We actually did see, it wasn't a double top formation. I'm sick of people saying that. It wasn't a double top. We saw Bitcoin move upwards to 69K. It previously only moved upwards to the high, to like 61 or something like that. We saw almost a 10% increase in price from the previous top, all right? A double top is not a 10% increase in price. That's not a double top, okay? A double top is within 0.5%. So let's be very clear about what we're talking about here, because I feel like people just make claims and say things without any backing of a TA. If we saw the original top on Bitcoin over here at 64, 63K, whatever it was, and we saw the next one at 69K, that's not a double top. That's almost a 10% increase in price action, okay? It's not a double top, and your whole idea that it wasn't a blow-off top, therefore it's not valid, first of all, it doesn't even make sense, because what do you mean by blow-off top? That's just a word people have made up to kind of identify price action that goes upwards massively. And second of all, I mean, I suppose you could make an argument make sense if it wasn't for the fact that the total cryptocurrency market cap did see a blow-off top. The total cryptocurrency market cap went upwards an additional, right? How much percent was this? From 2.5 trillion to 30 trillion, 17%. So, you know, what are we talking about here? This is what I'm talking. I feel like the people who propose lengthening cycles, I'm not trying to get agitated because I'm actually not angry at all. I just find it quite comedic, really. The people who are proposing this lengthening cycles theory, once again, even after they were completely humiliated in the last cycle, I feel like they just don't understand how trends work. And I feel like they just have a vast lack of knowledge about TA. If you think that Bitcoin moving upwards almost an additional 10% from the previous high is a double top, and you think total cryptocurrency market cap moving an additional 18% to the upside is not a blow-off top or is a double top by any stretch of the imagination, that's just incorrect. I mean, it's just plain incorrect. So that the whole premise of lengthening cycles is just wrong, mathematically, trend-wise, even subjectively. I mean, it's not even a compelling argument from to the opinion of an uneducated person. You just have to know how maths works to know it's incorrect. And for people to sit here and say, like, Credible Crypto, and I'm not trying to trash this person individually, I'm really not. I'm just saying his whole argument is that he's trusting the trends. What trends are you trusting? You're trusting a trend that has 2 data points, and the last valid data point was in 2018, 5 years ago, and the most recent data point wasn't a data point at all. In fact, it proves your point the opposite. It proved the opposite. So what would you rather trust, right? A completely faltered theory, which is just not even based on any form of mathematical trend whatsoever. Just complete speculation. Just complete and utter speculation. Or would you rather trust a structured trend, 4-year cycle date range trend, backed by the halving, backed by the presidential cycle theory on the stock market, traditional markets, backed by 5 separate micro trends measuring days from top to bottom, and also becoming backed by actual price trends, right? And will be backed by actual price trends by the end of this coming cycle. What would you rather trust there? What is a more mathematically strong opinion? You know, are you going to trust your emotions? In which case, you'd be trusting the lengthening cycles theory, because Bitcoin's gone upwards quite rapidly over the last 3 months, and obviously everyone probably wants that to continue. Therefore, you know, your emotions get in the way, and you start to maybe give too much credit to arguments like this when it's not actually due. Or are you going to trust the actual data that we've seen play out for Bitcoin since 2012 for 11 years now and not see a single fault once ever? What are you going to trust? That's my question. So no, I don't believe in lengthening cycles. I think everyone who is proposing that lengthening cycles is something to be taken seriously is actually misleading their audience. Either they're just living in complete ignorance, complete denial, they don't know what's happening themselves, or they're intentionally misleading their audience to gain clicks and views, right? Because obviously I could sit here and say Bitcoin's going to 100K in 3 months, and that's going to get me a lot more clicks and views than saying it's not going to happen. That's what it all falls down to, I think. And I'm not trying to claim that people, you know, for example, this guy specifically is being dishonest intellectually. Perhaps he's just got an opinion I disagree with, right? But I think a lot of people are certainly just being intellectually dishonest and lying to their audience to get clicks and views. And I think that's exactly what happened in 2021 when people were saying there's going to be a super cycle, when there was absolutely zero evidence of there being a super cycle outside of some weak fundamental arguments. The same thing is happening again. I can sense it. I've heard the word super cycle a few times. I've heard the word lengthening cycle a few too many times already. And I simply disagree. I don't think the data backs it at all. I don't even think there is any data backing it. You know, usually I'm very open to disagree with opinions, but still take them seriously and consider them in the future. The fact of the matter is, this is merely an opinion. It's not a trend. There's no mathematical backing. There's no fundamental backing. It is merely an opinion. And not all opinions need to be taken very seriously, because it's not backed by any data. It's like me saying frogs can fly. And yeah, that's my opinion. Cool, I can say it if I want, but it doesn't mean anyone should take it seriously, right? So this is what I think about lengthening cycles. I completely disagree with it. I think that if it does play out by some miraculous chance, I would have had, I would be very happy to have disagreed with it in the past, right? You have to back the arguments that make the most sense and have the most evidence for them to work, right? And if you end up being wrong while thinking correctly, the most important part is you thought correctly, right? And if you think correctly for a long enough period of time, you will profit the most in this market. And these people are clearly not thinking correctly. I mean, it's not even an opinion. I think it's just ridiculous how objectively untrue these claims are. But guys, I'm probably going to get trashed in the comments in this video. I don't care. That's what I think. That's my opinion. I obviously think people are entitled to say what they want, but I certainly can question their honesty intellectually and question their skills. That's within my right as well. So guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We have 24 hours left in the VIP cell, or just 2 days left, I should say, but around 36 hours roughly in the VIP cell. Take advantage of it. You're running out of time there. We don't do many sales. We only did 1 or 2 in the last year, and we only will do 1 or 2 this year. So this is your last real chance to get onto VIP. We trade altcoins on there 3 to 4 days a week. You've got all the information, the PDF of all the trading results, 80.5% win rate. Again, just 24 to 36 hours to get in there. Make a decision now, guys. We then also have the Bingx and Bitget exchange. If you need a place to buy and sell cryptocurrency, which everyone does, Bingx is a global non-KYC exchange, and Bitget is a global KYC exchange minus the USA. So Bingx global, Bitget global minus the USA. Take your pick. My referral links are down below for 15% trading fee discounts for life. You can save thousands of dollars throughout that in the bull run. Use my referral links there, get that discount, get on those exchanges. And finally, the Crypto Academy Become a Trader course. If you want to learn how to trade, this is the place you can do it. Read up all the info about the course on the website. Throw us an email at the email address listed on the website, and we'll get back to you shortly with any replies to questions you might have and payment information. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.